Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 11th episode of the Safety First podcast. And in this episode, we are going to focus on risk management in fall protection. All right, hello. And this is already our 11th episode. Can you believe it? We are now not just on YouTube, we're also on Spotify. So if you want to take a listen to our audio, it's all on Spotify. Together with me in every episode of Safety First podcast, we have our co-host, Kajol. Hi, Kajol.
Hi, Amanda.
And today with us, we have Loges and Peter from MSA. Just a quick introduction who they are. Loges is a fall protection segment manager for rest of Asia and the ANZ region. And Peter is the fall protection systems and solutions application manager, APAC. So here to tell us more about risk management in fall protection. Welcome to the podcast. Hi, Loges. Hi, Peter.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I can give a long introduction of MSA. WSH Asia has been working with MSA for some time now. They have been very supportive of all WSH Asia's work. And I think question to you, Loges, can you give a quick and brief introduction about MSA Safety? What are your company's core values and its involvement in fall protection? How do they align?
Thanks, Amanda. So, MSA Safety was established in 1915, where we started with the small first aid kits and then with portable methane detectors. So now, after 109 years, we are known as a global leader in research, development, and manufacturing of safety products. All these products are widely used in various market segments like oil and gas, mining, fire services, military, as well as construction in more than 140 countries. As a safety company, our goal is to provide our customer with a high-quality product and service to ensure at the end of the day, when they come back home to their family, they are safe and happy.
You all have a really very strong company core value as well. And to have the company for so many years, you all are doing everything right. I have a question for Peter. So, Peter, as we know that risk assessment is a crucial step in ensuring effective fall protection, but we'd like to know what role does risk assessment play in fall protection and how can organizations effectively identify and mitigate fall-related risks?
Yes, Kajol. Planning for safety is very instrumental in the progress. Thus, we need to have a method to identify the potential risk of the fall and how to prevent it. So, on how organization can effectively identify these risks, my suggestion is that please do consider seeking advices from professionals, experts of safety products to know what are the work at height protection needed, because there are actually too many products in the market to choose from, whether that product is actually effective to control this risk or to mitigate this risk, and whether do you need to have any temporary or permanent solutions, example like lifelines, whether do you need to have a temporary lifeline or permanent lifeline.
It's always eye-opening for us at WSH Asia to understand how your solutions help save lives. Because for us at our platform, we bring together every solution possible to see how we can further enhance safety at the workplace. And it's very interesting, and it's also eye-opening to see what MSA is doing. Now, Peter, I know you have been giving a lot of talks as well as presenting at a lot of conferences, and you have been asked this question. I'm pretty sure you have a whole presentation on it. Like, what are the most common hazards associated with working at heights?
Working at height is actually a very big topic. I would rather zoom in into example like what are the common hazards associated with working on roof. This is some of them call it very niche area, but it's an area that we need to actually discuss a necessity. Because there are, just like example in Singapore, recently there's actually workers fall from height or from the skylines. So And if you actually go further deeper inside, there is a thing called fragile roof. So self-explanatory. What does fragile roof means? Is fragile, break easily, and is also weak. So although we know this term, it exists in many forms. There are weak structures. Example, roofing tiles made of clay, made of concrete, slats, roofing sheets made of zinc or containing asbestos. Now, thicker material will be much stronger, so a thinner one will be a weaker material. So that's on the weak structure. And then we have skylights that's made of glass or semi-transparent plastics to give the lights penetrate through them. Usually it's used in a big factories that is having some operational manufacturing inside the factories, very environmental friendly. But if somebody actually need to go out to do some maintenance, like example, solar panel maintenance, solar panel cleaning of the gutters, manning any leaking roofs or antennas on top, etc. This can be very dangerous unless been designed to take person's weight. And to be more defined is how heavy is a person's weight, right? My weight and your weight will be different. So we need to be mindful, all right, on the fragile roof. And the interesting thing about working on the roof, dealing with fragile roof, is that, example like skylights, initially it can be semi-transparent plastic, you can easily identify. But as time goes, it can actually accumulate or cover with dirt, and it can actually be quite similar to the roof sheets that is beside it. Very difficult to differentiate whether they are actually fragile or weak roof. So that actually happens probably in one of the cases that happened not long ago, that the worker actually fell through the skylights.
I just want to go through what you just said, Peter, about working on roof. Like in line with what you just shared, is there a story or basically statistics or case studies that highlights the importance of effective fall protection measures in preventing accidents and injuries?
That's an interesting question. Now, statistics, I think I shall not share too much over here because most of the statistics from individual countries you can actually find from the ministry, the local ministry website. But I can tell you is that fatalities or fall from height fatalities is too high to be ignored, and it can be prevented. That's the main phrase. And also I would like to actually share is that we still have more education to share in helping our co-workers to take working at height safely and seriously. I'm often asked is that how much does it cost for a 1 meter of a lifeline? Today, I have not been asked, or nobody actually has asked me, what is the expected lifespan of the lifeline, or is it compatible with my roof, etc. So that actually comes back into what I just said is on they need to have more education on specific topics, so that everybody actually can work safely, not only by yourself, but also for your co-workers that's working together with you while working at height.
Thanks for sharing that, Peter. This is the first time I ever heard or it's a lot of knowledge that you've shared about the lifeline.
Right. And we also have understood that there are different applications to lifelines as well as fall protection in working at heights, especially when it comes to working on roofs. And we know that there are a lot of standards and regulations out there. My question is to Lourdes, like how does MSA stay up to date with these regulations to ensure that these products coming out by MSA stay relevant and also comply to these various standards and regulations in the region?
Okay. So at MSA, we usually prioritize staying up to date with the regulation by implementing a multifaceted approach. So we do a regular monitoring, internal audits, and we work proactively with the regulatory authorities. And this is to ensure that our products are consistently comply with the evolving regulations. At the same time, we also have representatives in our strategic countries who work closely with the local authorities or standard bodies. So, for example, my colleague Peter, he was a member of work group for SSEN 13374 for temporary age protection system. So what he does is he provides his valuable insights and knowledge on working at heights and share it with the local authorities. And at the same time, he also able to provide a valuable consultation to the end user, guiding them on how to effectively stay compliant to the changing regulations.
Okay, when you mention respective country reps, it also means localization of your products as well. At MSA, how many of these country reps are we talking about? Maybe in your purview, in your own region, how many are we talking about?
So, for example, in rest of Asia, so we have our representative in Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Australia and New Zealand, as well as Philippines, Korea, Vietnam, is everywhere.
Oh, okay. So all of these have an MSA office.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So if you need solutions for your fall protection in all these regions that was mentioned by Lourdes, you can get in touch with them as well. With all your knowledge in the different region, there are also many technological advancements and innovations in fall protection equipment. So how has these innovations improved the safety in the recent years? Do you have any case studies or any examples to share with us?
Okay, good question, Amanda. Okay, so in MNC, we are an organization where we are committed to protect the health and safety of our workers. So by keeping this in our mind, we spend countless of hours developing, testing, and evaluating our products to ensure we meet our goal. Okay, so we have our R&D team that innovates products. For example, I give you a simple example where let's look at our fall protection lifeline system for roof safety. Okay, so this system was designed by our R&D team where it can be used by multiple workers simultaneously. So these help them to save, first of all, they can save their costs, installation costs. Second, they can also save the installation time. So here the workers, they can increase their productivity and at the same time, they can work efficiently. So besides that, our lifeline system is also being certified by all the relevant global standards. And at the same time, the most important part is these systems are approved by industry leading roof manufacturer. That means these products does not void the roof warranty. So it's very clear that our fall protection solutions does not only protects the workers, but at the same time it protects your structure. For example, in this case, roof structure. Additionally, in MSA, we work closely with the workers from construction, mining, as well as manufacturing. So if you see all these workers, they have high risk for exposure to heat stress. This is mainly because of their work environment, which is combination of hot environment as well as high physical demand. So to help these workers, MNC design products that can minimize or eliminate the effect of heat stress, besides providing a comfort as well as increase their productivity. When come to safety, there's many reasons why workers do not like to wear PPE or even adapt to the safety practice. First of all is because it's not comfortable. Second is they have a lot of tasks to be accomplished. So they have to move fast. And whenever they are requested to wear PPE or follow the safety practice, it takes up their time. It consumes a lot of time. So that's the reason why they do not like to follow this. So our products helps to address their conflicts, challenges. At the same time, we also provide solution to them.
Yeah, interesting. When you mentioned about heat stress, we actually had an episode on the Safety First podcast talking about heat stress. When you talk about mitigating this risk, is there any particular product that we're talking about? Because heat stress, as far as we know, heat stress can be managed in various different means. Which product are you talking about when we address heat stress here?
There are a few. We do have our safety harnesses that can help the workers in minimizing the effect of heat stress. This is where I need to highlight our R&D team again. So they use a combination of anthropometric data, ergonomic and range of motion studies plus heat mapping to develop a harness to maximize their comfort and also minimize pressure and pinch point. So this harness is known as a V-Flex harness that includes integration of lightweight and breathable materials to support human body's natural cooling abilities and reduce the heat stress. So the material of harness is made of a lighter weight padding where it helps the harness to get cool faster and stay cooler longer compared to the normal harnesses.
To put that thought into a harness, I believe that's very noble and very smart of MSA to do, especially in here at Southeast Asia, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia. We're exposed to heat every day, 365 days in a week. Okay, probably minus a few rainy days, yeah, but most of the days that we have here in Southeast Asia is hot and humid. So it's not very favorable to workers who have to put on harnesses or any PPE for that matter for a long period of time because heat stress is definitely one of the biggest stresses here in Southeast Asia.
Peter, we are going back to the topic of lifelines. What are some common misconceptions or mistakes that people make when it comes to lifelines? And how can this be corrected?
Yeah, people actually have the idea one lifeline system actually fix all scenarios. This is actually a dangerous approach. People actually need to understand that there are many factors that actually leads to the final selection or decisions. Like example, durability, price, suitability, reliability, and the responsibility, and also the load back to the structure. There are so many factors actually to consider. People actually need to understand these needs to make a reasonable selection or decision on it.
Okay, what do you think about having regular inspection? Like, is this something that can be corrected while using the lifeline system?
Regular inspections and maintenance, these are actually very important. These lifelines are exposed to different environment as in high temperatures, harsh weather, corrosive substance, exposure to abuse, right, and the frequency of the use. So when we actually look into the person's life, actually is depending on these lifelines, and all the more this actually need to be inspected and maintained.
Definitely. I have so many notes for whatever you mentioned earlier, highlighting that one lifeline doesn't fix all your problems. And when you mention about exposed to different environment, is there a way that we mitigate this? We know that the lifelines are put in a certain space, in a certain storage that may help to reduce lifespan, I think, on these lifelines. Is there any recommended maintenance approach by MSA to ensure that this is prolonged?
Yeah, that's a good question. Firstly, is that we need to actually split in two. One of it is that whether it's a temporary equipment or temporary lifelines, which why is it called temporary? Because when we need it, we actually put it up for the work. And then after we are finished, we actually keep it, and then like what it says, storage. So that is on the temporary equipment. Storage wise is it needs to be actually away from harsh environment, high temperatures, chemicals, and also direct sunlight, because this will actually deteriorate the equipment or the material. When we look into a permanent lifelines, we can't change the environment. All right. I'm saying about the nature. We cannot say that cover the sunlight or etc. They will be exposed to this. And I'll go back to just now what I say, seek out the professionals or subject matter experts of the equipments, ask them to share the values and whether it actually suits your current process.
So, Logis, earlier you talked about heat stress and, the products designed to mitigate heat stress. And I just want to ask, how does MSA SafeTea approach product testing and quality control to ensure the reliability and durability of fall protection equipment based on different working conditions?
Okay, so MSA SafeTea is a ISO 9001 certified company. So we are committed to comply with our quality management system, customer, regulatory, and statutory requirements. So we are also an ISO 17025-2015 certified for all our fall protection labs and much more. So we utilize a MSA operation system to measure and monitor our key performance indicators to continuously improve our quality system. So if you see in all our activities that we carry out, they are performed within a culture of safety to protect the associates, the customers, as well as the environment.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a very good practice that MSA does. Speaking of quality, in every work site, we always have this very big question: price versus quality. What do you think are the key takeaways and also the best practices that you'd like organizations to consider when it comes to choosing the correct lifeline? I think, Peter, you're the best person to answer this question. What do you think, Peter?
Yeah, we get this a lot. Make it short so that everybody can get the message through easily. Don't ask why MSA's lifeline or products are more expensive. Ask why the product is less expensive. With that, I leave it to those who actually ask.
Thank you for joining us today, Peter and Logis. As we wrap up today's episode on risk management in fall protection, it's important to emphasize that by proficiently managing risk in fall protection, organization can diminish the chance of falls, injuries, and fatalities. This not only ensures compliance with safety regulations, but also safeguards the well-being of their workers. And with that, thank you for tuning in and being a part of the Safety First podcast.